My name's Richard Bromley. I'm with Ben Harding. I'm the mission director of ICS, and Ben has recently joined us as the church planting enabler. So I thought it'd be good, Ben, to hear about the role and how your first few months have been. So tell us about how it's been going.
So firstly, it's been a few months since I've been here. I'm based in Lyon in France, been here for 12 years. And the role has been, I think one of the highlights so far is to see how excited and enthusiastic people are almost across the board about starting new worshipping communities or planting churches. And so the role has really, in the first instance, just been teasing out who's out there and who's interested and who wants to participate in setting up new opportunities for people to worship. So, yeah, it's been a liaison role in the first instance, but it's been really, really exciting.
I remember back at the ICS conference, perhaps 2 years ago, we asked people who was interested in church planting and who might be our lead characters as we move forward.
Yeah.
How have you found the reception to what you've been doing?
So there's always, and I guess partly as a lot of us in any role in church, there's that desire for new people to know about the Lord and to find out ways that we can offer opportunities for people to join in discipleship and worship. And so there's that sort of organic piece that loads and loads of people within the ICS community, but also in our own particular diocese around Europe, they've already been asking the question, how can we reach out to people? What's interesting, I guess, particularly the last few months, is we've started to put some framework into place in order to help people almost plot where they are in terms of readiness, asking questions like, are you on your own or do you have a team? Who are you looking to work alongside? How long has this process been going? And so some people from our own community they're already doing it. They're already there. And that shouldn't be a surprise to us because that's part of our DNA, really, that sort of outreaching. So some of it's already happening.
Now, ICS said we have a goal to see 50 churches planted in the next 10 years, and that's been received positively by some people saying, that's not enough. Others saying, whoa, that's way too many. What sort of response have you felt? What sort of numbers of people talking about the ICS family to start with have you found coming forward?
So I think one of the things that's become really obvious is that we want to do this in partnership with our local diocese, particularly in Europe. And so when we say we're looking to plant 50 churches around, say specifically Europe in this instance, then the diocese in Europe's like, yeah, brilliant. So do we. And so there's that sense of going, oh, cool. This could be the beginning of something that's, in a sense, 50 is just the beginning, because hopefully what we're trying to put in place is a structure and an infrastructure that means it's not something that we do over the next 10 years, but consistently forward. We've put in place a dynamism that helps people plant churches, indefinitely until the Lord returns, so to speak. But yeah, so some people have been, again, as I say, one of the enthusiastic elements is seeing people saying, yeah, that's what we want to do too. We want to partner with you.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you about some stories, some examples, but at the same time, I appreciate these are fragile and these are people who are just getting started. So you're not really in a position to tell us names and places, but what can you tell us?
So I can tell you that as I say, some of our chaplaincies are church planting almost by accident. So, for example, there's one chaplaincy that they've just had to set up a new service for the same congregation, but in a completely new building in a new location, and at a different time slot, and they've just had to do that. It's just by coincidence, almost by accident, as I say. Some places, say, for example, notably in the north of France, have seen places where there are lots of students, for example, and have said, we could do something to reach out to these guys, and so they started doing something once a month in a different location, and they've taken a team. They've started doing worship in a different way for a different demographic. There are some places who have looked at all their buildings and thought we're really not in a great location for the population that we're trying to serve, and so they've started a process of saying, how do we take what we've got and plant it somewhere else? Other places around Europe, there are organizations and churches that have literally been planted lock, stock and barrel into a new community. And one of our examples on our what we're working with is a couple who are seeking to serve a specific group of people with a specific ministry in a new location. So completely across the board, there's that expansion of what exists or a modification of what already exists, all the way through to sending in a whole new team to do something that's completely different for a completely different demographic.
How interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was talking to one of our mission partners yesterday, and he was telling me that they launched a new congregation 2 weeks ago and how that was going, and that was meeting on a Saturday afternoon. And then he says, and we're launching another one in another 2 weeks.
Wow.
So
yeah.
while you want to say these are fragile starts, they are starts. I was with one chaplain who told me, one mission partner, who said, oh, yes, we've launched a new congregation, but there's only 20 people coming along. And I know some congregations would be delighted to have that many.
That's right.
So there is a buzz of this happening, which I find really encouraging to be part of.
And in some ways, it's that, sorry, I cut in on you.
No, carry on, tell us.
It's a rediscovering of our DNA. It was only recently that we remembered as a congregation that here in Lyon, the community around the corner, well, first of all, Lyon was planted by some merchants who just turned up. And then a few years later, well, 100 years later, the chaplaincy in Grenoble sort of birthed out of what was happening in Lyon. So in some ways, it's a recapturing of our DNA, just going, oh, yeah, this is what we do. We try and offer worship to the people who are near us. Who can't come to worship yet.
Yes. So you're here. You're in the first year of doing this. What's your dream? What does success look like for you?
Success for me looks like me not being here in some ways. That's a slightly cheeky answer, but success in some respects looks like there being such good infrastructure in ICS, but also more broadly, perhaps in our diocese, that say we don't need this now. In a sense, ICS has planted a seed that I hope will outgrow us, because so many people are rediscovering their church planting DNA. So to have a church planting enabler, in a sense, becomes redundant because we've just got such a massive buy-in from training organizations, from our diocese, from local chaplaincies who go, yeah, we need to make sure that this is a permanent factor of how we operate as a diocese in Europe in our context, but why not around different dioceses? So yeah. So they almost work yourself out of a job, as a famous chaplain said to me when I was in Paris a number of years ago.
I mean, and that's brilliant. And our desire, our hope is we see people, because of the ministry that you're fulfilling, find out about Jesus.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where success looks like, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ben, thank you for taking time to chat to us.
Absolute pleasure.
And I hope as people get to hear this, they get as inspired as we are. So God bless you, my friend.
Thanks, Richard. Bless you.